Hi, today I have a section from Journey Beyond Words by Brent Haskell, and this one is Holiness. Greetings again, I am Jeshua. I have come this day to further with you my discussion of A Course in Miracles. Today I wish to discuss with you and to help clarify for you your holiness. Pause for a moment and imagine that you are God. Imagine that you are the creator of all that is. Imagine that you are the source, the giver of all life, that nothing happens without you, without your choice, without your wish, without your thought. Just try to imagine that you are God. And in your imagining, ask yourself, what would I need? What could I possibly ask of another being to make me more complete than I am? Ask yourself, could anything or anyone else deprive me of anything? If you were God and you wanted to experience something, what would you do? I believe your answer must be, you would simply think it within your mind, and it would be. Then try to imagine, if you were God, that something or someone could oppose you, could be your opposite. You would realize, I am the source of all that is. There is no opposite. There can be no opposite. Even the thought of an opposite wouldn't really exist, for I would be God. Then try to imagine, if you were God, needing someone else to love you. And remember, as God, you are the source. You are the completion. You are the completion of all that is. Then imagine, perhaps a bit differently, if you were God, wanting to extend, wanting to give, wanting to send out that which you are, which you would call love. You might imagine it being joyful to take the wholeness of what you are, to take that which truly is yourself, realizing it as love, and extending it to a universe of your own creation. That could be joy, that could be fullness, for that would be the extension and expansion of yourself, capital S self. If you are God, extending yourself could not make you greater, for you already are all that is. You would not need to extend yourself, which we are calling love, for some purpose, for you could not be incomplete. You would only extend yourself, love, out of simple joy, the joy of experience, the joy of life. Try for a moment, if you can, to imagine beyond your thinking what it would be like to be God. Try to be in that place where you are complete, where you are whole, where it is impossible to need anything, where it is impossible to find anything outside your self, capital S self. Because you know that you are the source, you are all that is. Then imagine what it might be like to extend yourself, love, into the creation of what you might call things, which are thoughts or beings which exist within you, and yet through you, and as part of you, and which can never be separate from that which is you. Try for this moment, if you can, to imagine that you are God. Hear me well this day, for in these words can be found the essence of A Course in Miracles. As you try to imagine that you are God, know that you are. You are one with all that is. God is your source, but you are one with that source. The completeness that is God is you. God cannot need anything outside of himself because there is nothing outside of him. And although you can, in your thinking, imagine yourself having needs, in truth, there is nothing you can need. There is nothing that could complete you more than you are already completed. For you are the Son of God, and that is your holiness. One of the lessons for this week said, "My holiness is my salvation." Lesson 39. When you know the truth of that within your being, when you experience that truth without conflict, without thought, without analysis, without struggle, at the level of your being, you will be free, and you will no longer need anything like A Course in Miracles. You are the God of your life. Of your own life, you are all that is. Nothing in this life can exist outside of yourself, capital S self. Of all that you experience, there is nothing that is not within you. Being the God of your life, if you desire, if you choose to experience anything, just as with God Himself, all you need do is create it within your mind, and it is. Hear me well. What I am describing to you is exactly the way your life is. There exists no thing in your life which is not your own creation. There is no imagined absence of anything in your life which is not likewise by your own creation. This is true and applies to any possessions you can imagine, to any physical amenities, to the way they function, whether they work well, whether you find them pleasing or not. It applies to what you call money. It applies to what you call health. It applies as well to what you call relationships. In your holiness, you are the God of your own relationships. This includes relationships with your fellow humans, with animals, domestic and wild, with plants and trees, with inanimate objects, the sand and the rocks. It includes the very stars which you consider to be years of your light speed away. Every last experience of any kind, from a conversation with another person, to sharing what you call love, to seeing a tree, to stubbing your toe on a rock, to looking at a star, all of it is an expression of your holiness and of your creative power as the Son of God. Of your life, you are God. Hear this well. Of your life, you are God. And your goal in this course is to come to the point where it could not occur to your thinking that something could happen, that you could experience anything other than by your own willful choice. You are very holy. The power of God is expressing itself through you. With every thought and with every feeling, every relationship you seem to experience, with beings, with plants, with things, is a relationship with yourself, which is a relationship with God, for you are indeed God. Of your life, you are God. You are indeed very holy, and your holiness envelops everything you see. The mere fact that you see it all is an expression of your holiness. Were you not very holy, were you not the God of your creation, your life would be a void. Your holiness blesses the world, and you, as the Son of God, are blessed in return. Everything you choose to experience is of God, and you are blessed by whatever you choose. You are blessed by your joy. You are blessed by your pain, because as the God of your life, you would not have chosen your pain unless it brought you great joy. Hear me well. You would not have chosen your pain unless it brought you great joy. And what brings you pain? The thoughts that seem to tell you it is pain. That is all. For as we have said from the very first lessons, it is your thoughts, creations of the past, that deprive you of experiencing this moment and your godliness. It is your thoughts that separate you from that which is. It is your thoughts that separate you from yourself. Truly, without your thoughts, that which you have called your pain, and which you have created for your joy, would indeed be your joy. We have spoken during these lessons about vision, about seeing. God is my strength, vision is His gift, lesson 42. God is my source, I cannot see apart from Him, lesson 43. Remember again that vision, the gift of God, is beyond your eyes, beyond your senses. Vision is experience. Vision is being. God is your source. You are very holy. In your holiness, you are the God of your own life, and you experience that life in your oneness with God. Apart from God, you cannot see. Apart from Him, you will but imagine your apartness. Apart from your holiness, you will imagine that you are separate, that beings are different from you. You will imagine that they are not your own creations. You will imagine that your pain is pain. You will imagine that things can happen to you from outside yourself, not by your own choice. None of this is seeing. None of this is vision. And without your imaginings, without the thoughts that separate you, you will know your oneness with God, with your source. You will know in your holiness that all of life is your own creation. You will experience it free of the past, free of the stories you make up to interpret it. You will realize that your body, even that which you call your personality, yourself, is just one of the stories you have made up. And instead of the image of a body, instead of the image of a tree, instead of the image of a star or a rock, you will experience something very different. You will experience a shimmering light that flows and moves in a dynamic pattern, mesmerizing yourself, flowing in and out of that which you are, expanding, growing, diminishing, ever-changing, and with that you shall experience your joy. In one of the lessons I said, when you start to have vision, you will see little edges of light. Lesson 11. That is true. In your transition, you eventually will see not bodies, not trees and stars, but patterns of light, not light you see with your eyes, but light you experience, and it shall begin with the little edges of light. Let me admonish you not to set a time schedule, not to pressure yourself to be at a certain point, for insofar as you try to do this course, you are thinking, and you are separating yourself from the goal of your own holiness. If you were God, you would never struggle with whether what you were doing was right or not, and you are God. So never say to yourself that you should, by now, be seeing the little edges of light. Simply be where you are, in that which you call now. Be there freely in your holiness, and that shall save you years and years of your time. For every time you say, I should, and every time you imagine having to try to accomplish something, you are believing in time, and time is the great mode of separation. And separated, apart from God, you cannot see. Rejoice in what I have told you today. This is not a message of discouragement. It is not a message of chastisement. It is a message of great love, of hope, and of beauty. I have used these words in order to bring to you a vision of what you are, and of the time when you shall truly see. Such is your right, such is your inheritance. It cannot be taken from you, for God Himself has deemed it be yours, and there is no opposite to God. Be not concerned with your imaginings. That is all they are. Be not concerned with your thinking, for it is just the imaginings. Do not be discouraged that you imagine and that you think. Rather, rejoice in the creative power of what your imaginings and your thoughts can do. Let them teach you the extent to which you are God. God is in your mind. You are very holy. Your holiness is your salvation. Every aspect of your life is a product of your own holiness. And the God who has made you one with Him is your source and your strength. He has ordained that the vision of which I speak is yours. Indeed, except for your imaginings, that you are apart from Him, it is yours already. And I tell you, it is coming much sooner than you think. Blessings upon you all. That is all. Okay, thank you.